Hey, hello, I'm Kråkan, also known as Scarecrow, and welcome to Closet Movie Rambles, where I talk about all the movies that I found in my closet while cleaning. This week's movie is Scary Movie 4, and it's a comedy from 2006, and it's about 1 hour and 25 minutes long, starring Anna Faris, Regina Hall, and Craig Bierko. And the movie starts with basketball player Shaq O'Neal and Dr. Phil. They're being chained to pipes, and it's basically a pun on the Jigsaw movies, which were popular at the time, I guess. So they have a limited time to escape, and they can't cut through the chains, so they have to cut through their legs. So basically, Shaq O'Neal taunts Dr. Phil, and he cuts off his leg, but he cuts off the wrong leg. And then we cut to Tom, played by Charlie Sheen. He wakes up in a bed with 3 other women, but something is not right, and he tries to take his life with a razor blade. But he gets interrupted by one of the main characters, which is Cindy. Stops him from doing that, but she doesn't realize that because she's stupid. She doesn't realize that he's trying to take his life. So they move about in the apartment. And Tom grabs what he thinks is sleeping pills, and he just takes a mouthful of them, and he just tries to chug it down with vodka. He just wants to die for some reason, but it wasn't painkillers or whatever, or sleeping pills. It was Viagra. So he gets this huge boner, and the cat kind of attacks him and attacks his balls, and he throws the cat out the window, and then he stumbles and falls down on the street below, killing himself basically. And then we got to Tom Ryan, the other main character of the series. He's operating a heavy crane, lifting containers, and he falls asleep, and he drops everything, and everything goes south, and he quits his job. And then we cut to him drinking his sorrows away or whatever, and meeting up with 2 of his friends, 2 black guys. And they talk about a special place, and then they cut to them at a camping site doing gay stuff, and I think that was kind of unexpected and weird. And then Tom leaves, so Tom is not exactly a good person. He's a really bad father. He can't hold down his job. His wife hates him, and he's just stupid, I guess. And then cut to Cindy, the other character, applying for a job, and she gets the job basically because the place where she's supposed to work, taking care of this old woman, Miss Norris, I think, it's a cursed place, and nobody wants the job, and so she kind of gets the job, and her new boss drives her out there, and kind of gives her a tour of the place. And meanwhile, the tour is going on. This grudge-looking monster kind of thing is just in the vicinity, and entity kind of thing, I guess. And he just tried to cover it up, so Cindy wants to see. And of course, she's stupid. She doesn't see anything of this supernatural shit that's going on. So it's she gets the job basically. And then cutting to Tom again, trying to be a good dad, but he's not really doing a good job. So he has 2 kids. Rachel and Robbie, and every scene that Rachel is in, she always gets hurt some way or another. And so Tom and Robbie are playing catch, and of course Tom Ryan throws the ball, hits Cindy in the face, and he goes to pick her up, to help her up. And then they start talking, and so he's so social awkward. He can't really have a straight conversation. And then the audio cuts out because apparently he's in love with Cindy because he for some reason. So the audio cuts out. It's kind of stupid though. And then cutting to Cindy taking a bath and realizes that something is wrong. So she goes to check on Miss Norris, and she starts to clean her up, but mistakenly takes the potty water instead, and kind of rubs it all in her face and everything. And Miss Norris is mute, so she can't speak. So this is kind of funny but disgusting scene when she gets rubbed down with fecal matter basically. And then Cindy realized what she's doing, and she takes the hose just to clean her up, and then it's on full force, so Miss Norris is sent flying through the air, and then she gets distracted, and Cindy so Cindy goes upstairs, check, and she finds the hidden loft, and the Grudge Kid is there too, and then Tom is trying to play football with his son, and of course Cindy comes out and gets hit by the ball, and then Cindy more or less tells her life story to Tom, how she used to be a boxer, and she actually fights Tyson dressed up like a woman, and Tyson kind of bites the referee's ear off, and Cindy gets all the smashed up by Tyson, and she's about to fall and break her neck, but her boyfriend kind of steps in and he kind of breaks his neck instead, and then follows a very stupid scene where everybody some way or another related to this thing break their own necks, which is kind of stupid, and Cindy kind of just looks up on everything, and then there's an epic kiss between Cindy and Tom Ryan, and the wind starts blowing in her hair, and then they realize it's a hurricane, and Rachel gets hit by lightning, and they go inside to safety to be safe, and then this is really stupid, and then everything electrical stops working for some reason, and then the aliens arrive, and so they're kind of stupid also. During like this period of time, there was like these things called the iPods, which are basically like current day iPhones, I guess. You listen to music on them. That's the point. So these iPod, but they're called tripods. There's a pun in there somewhere. I don't know. They arrive and they start playing 80s music, and it's not such a bad situation, but it's an invasion. So they flip the song into Destroy All Humans, and then all hell breaks loose. And then cut to Cindy talking to the Grudge Kid, because somehow this kid knows how to stop these aliens, and then they just start speaking random Japanese to each other, like car brands and foods and all stuff. Is like really stupid. And then cutting to Tom telling his kids to leave. So he goes for this toolbox and he picks up a gun. And he's put it, like those gangster movies. He's supposed, put it in your jeans, on your backside, whatever. And then he shoots his own ass. And he said, that's a stupid idea. So he takes up the gun and put it in front, and then he shoots his balls. It's really just stupid. Just leave the gun. You can't even handle it. And then cutting to Tom finding Cindy, and basically giving her a solenoid. I think it's a car part. Maybe it's a joke. I don't know. And then he leaves her there. Yes, he leaves her there. And then Tom Ryan and his kids they go for a car, and there's this guy that they know. I think that just get in the car, come with us, And there's this thing they're supposed to open the doors, but there's something wrong with the lock. So when you're holding the handle, you can't open the door because the lock keeps flipping up and down. So they have this stupid joke like, on three, your three, my three, do we go on four? And they argue for like 5 minutes, and then it's like, okay, fine, just leave. And then he just goes away, but the car, drives away. And then the guy gets zapped by an alien. And then cutting to the president, played by Leslie Nielsen. He is at a school, listening to a little girl telling a story about a duck. And then one of his agents arrive and tells him about there is an alien attack going on, sir. It needs your immediate attention or something like that. And then the president says that I'll deal with that in a minute. I just have to know what happens to this duck. And then the agent informs him that the duck basically dies. And the president says that's terrible. And then he goes on a rant, and he basically tells the kids that their parents are probably dead, and there is no Santa Claus or Easter Bunny. And then it's terrible, really terrible story. And then cutting to Cindy finding her friend Brenda, and she's basically a reporter now. And there's this kind of stupid scene. There's the last drivable car that's working because all the electronic stuff kind of was shut down. There's this guy driving around the streets, you know, and Cindy used it as a solenoid, throws it at a guy's head and steals the car. And then the cut to cutting to Tom getting pulled out of the car, and the car gets stolen. And then it cut to Cindy and Brenda driving down the road, because the grudge kid kind of told Cindy that she's supposed to find this settlement where they will basically find more answers. So they find this place and they infiltrate. This is like a kind of a cult or sect, basically like an Amish thing. There's a kind of how do you say, enclosed society. So they steal some clothes and basically infiltrate the place, and then go into the leader's house where he's having dinner. And because it's a religious kind of thing, he says he tells his family or kids, and you know, some of the in the sect, like, can you say the prayers, say grace? And then the village idiots kind of says PPV vagina, and he kind of face palmed. The leader's like, it's just going south, you know. What is this going through? And then they found out that Cindy and Brenda are basically outsiders, and they get put on trial. And meanwhile, where they're in trial, this blind woman goes in and basically takes a dump on one of the stools, and the leader kind of harks on it, or whatever it's called, and she realized, this is not my house, is it? Nope. And then she leaves. So it's kind of funny because there's a whole lot of people in the courtroom, and it's stupid. And then cutting to the president at the UN, when he's basically supposed to address the world's nation and have a speech. And so he basically starts talking. He kind of offends all the countries and all the stereotypical things you can say about a race or a country, he says. And then he talks about the alien war and kind of how the scientists have developed this, reverse engineered the alien tech to do something else, so they can maybe use it against aliens. And he kind of tinkers with it a bit, try to make it to work, and then it activates, and he loses all of his clothes because of the alien ray. And the crowd is disgusted by this, and then he kind of, okay, I think it works now, and he kind of puts it on, and the ray gun goes over all the crowd in the background. They all get naked as well. Really stupid. And then cutting to Tom Ryan and his kids, and Rachel basically gets picked up by Michael Jackson, and Tom kind of saves her from him, and Michael Jackson gets zapped by one of the alien guns. And then Tom Ryan and Rachel goes to a safe house with this shotgun guy. And then Cindy and Brenda is at the camp, and there's this fake alien attack, and the leader Henry gets stabbed by the village idiot, and he kind of calls Cindy and Brenda to tell the truth about what really happened to the grudge kids and everything. And Brenda has this flashback to her boxing match, which apparently the grudge kid was there, and he was crushed by this fat guy falling off stage or something like that. And then the village idiot arrives again, and he stabs Henry, the leader, in the chest, because apparently the sheriff is also the village idiot's brother. So it's kind of this stupid scene. And then of course the leader of the cult, he dies basically. And then cutting to Tom Ryan and Rachel, and he's basically trying to put her to sleep, so he sings this really bad lullaby, something about bitches and hoes and stuff, but she falls asleep, and he goes out to this shotgun guy and try to talk to him. for a plan or something, and he's obviously crazy and rambling, and we have to dig our way out and all these kind of stupid things, but too bad we don't have any shovels. And it's like, oh, okay, sure. And then one of the alien arrives, this long kind of tube snake thing, and it's kind of funny. This kind of crawls up behind a vacuum cleaner, kind of dry humps it, and then it takes both Tom and Rachel, picks them up into this cage of this machine basically. And then cutting to Cindy and Brenda, and then the real alien attack happens, and basically the alien tripod thing picks up Brenda and Cindy, and Tom and Rachel are there too. So basically they get pulled into another room where there's like it's basically the Jigsaw room. So the aliens are in fact Jigsaw people, and there's like, the joke is that they're different, but they all look like Jigsaw, and so they're put on a trial again. So there's like, they have both Brenda and Cindy and Ryan, Tom Ryan. They're strapped to these mechanics devices that will kill them. They will snap their necks or whatever. So Jigsaw gives them a clue, like it's hard to see or something like that. And there's like this pun where Cindy doesn't get it, but the key is behind her fake eye. And when she realizes that, she kind of picks out the key and unlock everyone and everything. But that's not the end of the test, because Jigsaw kind of knew that they will solve this puzzle, whatever. So Tom Ryan's kids are basically dangling over these kind of spinny blades, and he kind of grabs the string and hold on for dear life. And basically what happens is that he's willing to, for once, be a good father and sacrifice himself to save his kids. So he holds on to the chain for their life. And Jigsaw sees this, and he kind of has a change of hearts. And it's revealed that actually Jigsaw is the father of the Grudge Kid, not Henry, the cult leader. And then they kind of make peace with it, and the war ends. And so basically what happens is that Tom returns the kids to the real mother, and B gives birth to one of Jigsaw's kids, because obviously she did something she was not supposed to. She slept with an alien. And the president sleeps with a duck. And it's really stupid. And the narrator for this movie, which by the way is James Earl Jones, he's the voice of Darth Vader in the movies, and he was the narrator. He was the bad guy in Conan the Barbarian. Really, really cool kind of scene. And then he gets hit by a bus. It's like, okay, sure, just because. And then since Tom Ryan saves the world, he gets to be on the Oprah Winfrey show, where he goes. It's a reference to Tom Cruise, and Tom Cruise crazy. He kind of jumps in the sofa and does all these crazy things, and he basically boxes with Oprah. Kind of stupid, but it's this pun on Tom Cruise and Tom Cruise crazy kind of thing. And then the movie ends. So what do I think of this movie? Well, it's just a comedy, entertaining comedy, nothing else. And it's supposed to be funny and stupid, and none of the scenes really connect, and there's a lot of plot holes or whatever, but it doesn't need to have a consistent plot. So there's some age in there, some jokes in there that have aged really bad, but if it's on TV, sure. Just for the stupid 90s kind of early 2000 jokes, sure, it's a funny watch. But anyway, I hope you like this, and goodbye and take care.